So thank you everyone for attending or watching week 5 of our Mastermind. And we are here with a super important topic, and that is the topic of follow-up, because the fortune is in the follow-up. And then just touching a little bit on how our income producing activities help us with that follow-up. So Valerie is going to walk us through that in detail. And for those that don't know Valerie, she comes from a very awesome, strong team with a good culture that is totally Team YL. And personally, she helps me a lot. Between her and Stacy, they translate red and help me be able to communicate better with me. And even if you don't know her diamonds or her people, you surely have probably benefited from them, because almost every time you Google a graphic, one of the ones that come up will be oily families. So her team has probably helped you whether you know it or not. With that, I will turn it over to Valerie so she can teach us tonight.
Thank you. Yes, I was blessed to hop on that oily family train, and I've gotten a lot of information from that, and then hopefully I can pass that on. So our topic tonight is the exposures and then like IPA stuff. So I found this graphic, and now I don't know where. I think in one of the groups, but it was perfect. And so I'm like trying to use all my notes and all my stuff here. So hang with me, but I'm going to use my phone and read it. Because it talks about the exposure thing. So sales statistics, 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. 12% of salespeople only make the 3 contacts and stop. Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. 2% of salespeople 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. 5% of sales are made on the third contact. 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So I thought this was perfect. I just shared it with my team last week. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to use this for tonight too, because I want to continue it on. And that's why we have to assume, we have to make all these contacts, these exposures with people, right? And because just think about yourself for a second, for you, how many contacts did it take for you to enroll with Young Living? Or anything, whatever it is, like to go buy that car, to go do, buy almost anything, so you probably had more than one contact. So a quote that goes with it was, not following up with your prospects is the same as filling up your bathtub without first putting the stopper in the drain. So Sheena already stole my quote, but we've heard it all over the place. The fortune is in the follow-up. Right. So we very, very rarely do we make one touch with someone and they're like, I'm in. I thought I was that, but I actually wasn't. My friend posted about it I watched it for a couple months. So, if I think about that, I probably saw 5 to 10 touches of it, but when I went to the first class, yes, I was in. So I had that little exposure, and then I had it all in, and I was ready. So remember, we are, if you don't have the GoPro book, it's totally worth the investment. I know it's not that pricey, or borrow a copy. A lot of the libraries right now are doing free borrow stuff, or somebody could send it to you. I've got it tabbed as we've been going through things, and I've been liking it just to remind myself of these things. The reason that like Tashina and Stacy and I are doing this is to help ourselves. We want to remember these things too. So some of the stuff in here, number 1, follow up like you said you would. So make that a priority, say when you're going to call them next time, or, Young Living has a really awesome follow-up thing in the member resources, and in the virtual office under member resources, they have a new member follow-up kind of cheat sheet thing. So it talks about like day 1, day 3, day 5, day 10, or something like that. They've already done a worksheet for you. You definitely can find other ones or do it on your own. But whenever, if you say, okay, for instance, I dropped off a premium starter kit to someone tonight. I'm going to send her a message tomorrow. What'd you diffuse? I did it at like 7 o'clock at night. I'm sure she's got the diffuser going, but I'm going to wait till tomorrow and check in with her. She's a new member, but if you're have invited somebody to a class and you take the time after, since we're going to be doing this online a lot coming up, or we have been, take the time and look through who commented and who said things and send a quick message. I'm not, I'm a fan of copy and paste. If you can, edit it a little bit, don't obviously, the, hey girl, we've had that happen to us. So I'm not a fan of that, but I do utilize copy and paste, and just edit to make it more specific for them. Don't reinvent the wheel either. You know what I mean? So make it easy for yourself, but follow up and send messages to those people that checked in. Make sure that they checked in if it's still a class that's up, or if you need to like send them, we record this. So if you need to send it to them, something like that. The only reason to have an exposure is to have another exposure. So when we have that first exposure with them, so if we invite somebody to an event, we have to send them that message to like, what's the next step for them? What are we going to do next? What's the next exposure? Another class, another video. And in going with that, it's not what did you think? It's what did you like best? Don't offer a what did you think, because they're going to have objections, or they're going to want to have things like, not necessarily, but a lot of people will. So just keep it positive. No, I don't think any of us are perfect, or Young Living is perfect. We have our ups and downs and our roller coaster, but keep it positive. Right now, we need a lot of that. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you saw my bunny ears. I posted that mainly just to get a laugh from people, because that's better. Scroll through and see Valerie wearing bunny ears. I think my kids stole them, but they were like right up here. So, that was just to have a laugh. But asking them, so they come to a class or they watch a video, and then you say, what did you like best? And then that can give you your next exposure. If they say that, oh, I really like the sounds of Stress Away, like, okay, that's one of my favorites. Like, would you like me to send you a sample of it so you could smell it? Especially right now, remember, like, people, we aren't going to be able to pass the oils around like we know works so well. That is how we get people, with their noses. So we're going to have to probably send some samples and things. So, and Stress Away is a perfect sample because it's a proprietary blend from Young Living. I already kind of said this in my statistics thing, but the average is 4 to 6 exposures. That's the average, right? So we know what that means. There's that one person that's going to do it one time, and then there's that person that's going to be like 12 times, right? So one time is probably not going to happen often. So that's why we want to have one exposure and then have that second exposure ready, or quickly follow up. And kind of going with that, if we can condense the exposures, that's even better. So meaning, if you have a class this week, don't wait. What is it? I've been married for 12 years, but like, what is it, like 3 days before you text somebody or call somebody after a date, something like that. It's not like that. You ask them the very next day. You ask them like an hour later, if it's not too late at night. You ask them right away, and then follow up right away. Follow up with that next exposure of, okay, they're curious about that. Get that sample in the mail. That is the more, that gets better results and faster results. You absolutely will. You can stretch it out. I've done that. I've had people, actually the person that I just dropped a kit off today, okay, we're still in March. Okay. So I think it was in February when we came back from our Florida trip. So sometime like February 20th. So it took me, that's pretty good, obviously. Like it took me like a month, but chatted with her quite a few times in that time period. And it just happened to be, I think it was a on my side kind of situation, but those exposures, there was time in between. Sometimes that can take 6 months or can take years. Like my next door neighbor, I think it took her 2, if not 3 years to finally sign up. So it just took that amount of time. The exposures weren't closer together. They were very much farther apart, months in between. And you kind of starting over. If you go long periods between the exposures, you're starting fresh each time because they've got other stuff that has happened in the meantime. So if you can do it sooner, the better. And so that's why we make time. I don't know if we put that as one of the things, but I know Tashina has talked on it and I've talked on it. Time management becomes really important when it comes to that, because I know not all of us, some of us have full-time jobs and we're trying to do this too. So we find those pockets of time. So, we mentioned it last week, but when we talk about those exposures, feel, felt, found is another tool to have in mind, because in those exposures, you're going to have some objections, you're going to have some limiting beliefs, you're going to have those questions. The overall idea of these exposures is that we're educating people and we're understanding them, and they're understanding us and what we're offering. So be ready to ask questions and have that feel, felt, found. So I know how you feel. I felt the same way, and this is what I found. Okay. If it's your own story or if it's somebody close to you that you can share their story, that's okay too. Obviously your story is going to resonate a lot more with them, but if it's somebody close to you too, like that's a good story. Does that make sense? Does that sound good before I move on to our IPA stuff? Okay. So I have some notes too, of this stuff. So IPAs, this was wine, not beer. So it's not a beer. It's not a type of a beer, for we don't know. Income producing activities. So you see that a lot, IPA, and it just means income producing activities. So again, this is where time management is so important, that this is how we build our businesses. This is how we go forward in our businesses. So one of the first and foremost is getting members on Essential Rewards. So we probably are all on Essential Rewards because we are products of the products, because we know the products work, because we're smart consumers and we like a good deal. We like cash back, right? So first and foremost for Essential Rewards, how you help people get on there, educate on it, take the mystery out of it, make it simple and make it normal. What I just say, we're all on it, right? We're all on it. It's totally normal. It's what we do because we want to save money and we want to get the products in our house. So the next idea and how to get them on there, ditch and switch, or we call it transfer buying. So help them to understand the value of Essential Rewards, that you're not adding to your budget, you're transferring your budget. So, I tell this story. I don't have, like, Target is like 45 minutes away. So I don't go to Target, but so I have to use Walmart as my example because that's like 15, 20 minutes away. I live in the rural area, can you tell? So I say, I like never go to Walmart anymore. If I can get it from Young Living, I do. So it's totally normal. I don't add more, and I do the feel, felt, found. It's not adding more because I felt like I was going to add more to the budget, and I didn't want to do that. So I found that by using Essential Rewards, I could slowly replace those products. I'm a big math person. I love numbers. I love math. So if you don't, it's okay. Just ask me. No, find somebody that does like math, but do the math for people. Do the savings for them. Sometimes there's graphics already done. Some people in certain groups, they'll do the math for you and tell you like, this is the value of all the freebies this month, or just like, this is how much you can get back. You know, at this point, it's been thousands of dollars that I've gotten in free products, not counting promos, just counting the cash back that I've got, that 10, 20, 25% back. And then make sure that you educate on the freebies of the month and the promotions so that people understand what's so great about these freebies. Like, and then they can also spend more in that case. So check your virtual office regularly in case someone places an order that's like 50 to 100 PV, and you can explain to them that's an instance to say, hey, you missed out on Essential Rewards. Like if it's a regular order and not an Essential Rewards order, and that's right in that kind of amount range, that you can say this is what you would have gotten if you had done that. Especially if they do it consistently, they may just not know what Essential Rewards is. So our next IPA is enrolling new members. So classes. So this is going to be, you're going to listen and take an idea of obviously that we're online now. But so, because personally, I'm a big in-person person. That's why I love Zooms, because I can see your faces. Those of you that choose to show me. I appreciate the rest of you are here, though. Thank you. But so in-person classes are, you can be more casual, you can be more informal, and there's less watchful eyes. So what I'm saying is when you get in front of people, you can be more candid. You can say things that we cannot post on Facebook. So give or take, saying it on Zoom, you know, I don't know, you know, like be cautionary with that kind of stuff, but you can be very candid in person with someone. So otherwise, classes online, you can do it together as a team. You could do it in a cross-line group. It's always so much more efficient and I don't know, educational when you can do it as a group, because you can edify each other. You know, sometimes if I say something, so-and-so doesn't believe me, but like, then if Tashina says it in a different way, or Stacy says it because she's not a red, then she can say it. Oh yes, you are, right? You are now. Okay, never mind. Well, she thinks she's yellow. So she says it in a thinks she's yellow part. So it's probably nicer than my red sometimes. Right. So it's just fun to like crisscross those things. So always it's nice to have those people. And so you can do online with your team. You can do a live video on your timeline. Now's the time to do that, because like, who cares? Like everybody's doing it. Practice makes perfect, right? No, nobody's perfect, but practice makes better. We're progressing. So you can do one-on-ones. You could do one-on-one Zoom stuff. You could do one-on-one FaceTime stuff. When we can see each other in person, you can do one-on-ones that way too, but that goes back to kind of time management stuff. So personally, I can talk to 10 people for an hour in a group, or I can talk to 10 people for 1 hour a piece, right? So I can either do 1 hour or 10 hours. So, you know, if I don't have 10 hours, so I'm probably going to do those even, and I mean, 10 people would be amazing. But you know, even if it's 3 people, that's more efficient for me. And again, remember, we're doing that in May. We're going to do that in May. Okay. So, another thing about enrolling new members is learn how to post on social media. I love Getting Noticed by Lindsay Teague Moreno. Getting Noticed is the book. It's a super short little like booklet almost. It's so easy. You can read it in an hour. Be careful what you post, because you are your brand. Think about how you feel when someone posts something controversial or negative, or, you know, I am unfollowing people left and right these days. So, you know, keep that in mind. I am not immune to what's happening in the world, but I'm also not going to push on my anxiety any more than I need to. I'm going to have to like get a big bottle of stress away. So, you know, you will alienate people, you'll divide people, you'll turn people away when you're posting certain things. So, and remember, people are watching that stuff. Those are exposures. Remember, they count as exposures, your online stuff that people are seeing. So there's always a tactful way of sharing your views and not and like staying open-minded to both sides of it and not alienating somebody. Don't call people out for spending money on something that you wouldn't spend money on. We will all put value in different places. So you do that and they're not going to value the kit, you know. So post stories on social media. Literally Facebook stories, Insta stories, but also like a story, like what's going on in your day. And Young Living should be part of your life in your stories and every single day. I don't mean you have to post every single day about Young Living. I mean, it's a natural part of your everyday. And use your oils everywhere you go. Essential places that you go right now. This is going to be, we're going to dig this one back up from the vault in like another year and be like, oh, remember when we were talking about how we were trapped inside? Okay. So right now though, when you're going to the grocery store, you're spraying your thieves on the cart, you're using your hand sanitizer, or you've got a DIY, you're putting Stress Away in your hair, you've got thieves on your scarf, whatever. You smell like oils, right? Yes, you do. So, because people are going to smell you and you're going to smell good. You're not going to smell like bleach and Lysol and stuff. So they're going to be like, woo, oh my gosh, I feel so calm around you. Tell me more. And then expand your network. Again, this is a tough one right now. There's lots of Facebook groups. Just be careful in there. But when we can emerge again and maybe do the research now, look up a book club. Look up check out your library, see if there's a book club going on that's going to meet in May and June. Join some different communities, some clubs, some groups. Say yes to things. We're all going to be saying yes soon, but keep that in mind. That's how you're going to enroll new people, because you're going to meet new people and you're going to keep expanding your network. Do not give up when you hit all of your warm market. That's what happens to so many of us, is that when we kind of go through our warm network, we hit a wall and we think it's over. It's not over at all. Not even close. So don't give up, because the next thing you're going to do is help your team members to enroll new members. So you're going to teach all those things I just said, and you're going to do it with them, not for them. Come alongside them, join together. Remember what I said about like doing classes together or events together? That's what you're going to do. Come alongside, stay connected with them, offer training and mentorships like this amazing group we have going on. Still time to join. The Facebook groups that we have, and then run with the runners. So if you know that somebody is in this, they're ready, they're going, then you're right alongside them. You are connected at the hip. Especially those in their first 90 days. Those people are awesome. That is our goal too, by the way, is to have somebody in their first 90 days to have an experience, an essential oils experience, a product experience, a paycheck experience, and that aha moment. Mine was within the first 30 days, and that was huge. That's why this is a business to me now. It was not a business in the first 30 days until I had that moment that, wow. So you run with your runners, make time for them, ask them to join you in events and classes and all that stuff. The next IPA is to increase member orders. So how do we do that? We educate. Use your own Facebook groups. By that, I mean like your upline groups. You probably, I would not recommend starting a group or starting a page or starting any of that stuff if you have, honestly, like I don't have my own group. I don't want my own group. I have like a really small like business group, but that's it. That's not even my favorite thing. It's more beneficial to have a bigger group. Otherwise, you're doing all the work. Remember, Facebook is hard on the algorithms of groups and pages. Pages especially. You know, if you have a following separate, like you already had a blog or you already had something, you know, you already had a photography business, you already had this other thing, you know, totally fine, makes sense. But for most of us, we're going to utilize our uplines group, our silver, gold, platinum, diamond, something like that. We're going to just add our new members into there because they're going to get a ton of education in there from a lot of people, and it's a big resource. So, but you should be posting in those groups too. You should be visible in there. You should be talking about what you use daily, weekly, you know, something that's new to you. You should be commenting on posts in there because that's how we're going to be educating people. A reference book is huge. I do not have mine right here. We do the life science. Boom, there it is. Yep, Tashina grabbed him. Yeah, thank you. So it's a life science publishers, the pocket reference. You can, it's like $10-ish. If do a bulk order or do it with your upline. Check with your upline. I have a preferred membership, so I purchase a whole bunch and then I can give them to my people locally, or I've mailed them out. I just mailed because, you know, because I can't see anybody, I had to mail it to the next town. But I did it because that was easier because she wasn't going to get to see her, so I sent two. And that is such an awesome investment. Something I do is that I have, because I just did it today when I dropped that off, I stick some, now I can't find it. Of course I can't find it when I need it. I just take little Post-it notes. So like this size Post-it note, and I have a card and I have all these pages that I tab and I go through because those are like most common questions or most common ailments that people look up. People are gonna peruse that on their own. Although tell them not to read the whole thing before they like open a bottle. Like don't do that. Don't go crazy. But you know, just use it as you're like using your oils. And it's specifically the purple book. It's the pocket reference from LSP. That is the one that is recommended from Young Living. There are other ones out there that are not recommended. Mary Young has spoken very adamantly about do not patronize those people. Do not give them any money. There are certain ones which if you have questions, just ask your sponsor. Increasing member orders, customer service, and follow-up. We already said it with exposure stuff. So there is a new member phone call cheat sheet also as a PDF in the virtual office, and that new member checklist I mentioned. Young Living already did this, and they're awesome. They're really nice PDFs. You can print them out. You can use them digitally. Excuse me. My biggest mistake in my 5 years of enrolling new members was assuming that they were like me. Isn't everybody like me? I'm a red blue Enneagram 3 that I figure stuff out for myself. If I have a question, I go get the answer. I don't ask questions very often. I just go find the answer. So it's not that I won't ask questions because I will, but I will try to find the answer myself. I'm also why it doesn't work when people do like the curiosity posts and they won't show me what they have, because I will not ask you. I will go figure out what you have. Like they're like, oh my gosh, I love this stuff. And I'm like, okay, what is that? I'm totally going to figure that out. But, so you are going to follow up with those people because they're not like that. Most people are not that way. So just assume they're not until they tell you, leave me alone, I got this. And you'll figure that out very quickly that they don't need you for that. But they do need us to hold their hand and show them the way. They do want to answer those questions. They want to be able to ask questions. So just checking in with them, you know, like, hey, what'd you diffuse today? Hey, what didn't you open? What's an oil that you're not sure how to use in your kit? What's a product that you've wondered about? They need to see how much we care and not how much we know. So don't let that stop you too from asking them questions and checking in with them. They don't care if we're not experts, because we're not experts. None of us are experts. I think Gary Young would even have said he's not an expert. And we know he was like, I totally think he was an expert, but he probably would even say, no, I wasn't. He was still learning every day. So we are. And one of the other IPAs for us, helping our team to reach their goals. So flipping to their next rank, right? So if we see somebody that's close to a rank, helping them. So we're recognizing and ranking to executive, and I mean star for senior star executive. The silver bound bonus is amazing. Like that whole program is so awesome. I'm so jealous. I cannot touch any of it. But I cannot wait for my team to hit those marks, because I think it's so cool, and it sets them up for further success, and you get that like extra money, and that's always nice. It's always a nice bonus in our so helping those people to reach their goals, that's how we reach our goals too. And the last IPA, that's kind of an indirect IPA, is personal development. So whatever that means for you, first and foremost, probably just knowing that you do need personal development. None of us are, we can always do better. You know, we are always evolving. We don't have all the answers. So the sooner that you can realize that, the better. Took me a little while because I'm red. So it took me a little bit to realize that I didn't know everything, and what I needed to do to help more people. So heed some of that advice too from your sponsors in Upline, because they probably have been through it and they're just trying to save you the time from doing some of that stuff too. But yeah, personal development. And if anybody has like suggestions and ideas, you know, our group right now, this is personal development, and this is just like our education. The GoPro book that we're kind of basing this out of is personal development. It's really motivating, but also just on a personality level, like Tashina can talk to you and share a video about literally about personalities, and that's really beneficial for you to learn your strengths and weaknesses and what that means, and then how to interact with others in those levels. So that's it. That's all I got. Any questions, any thoughts?
Valerie, you talked about the reference guide. I have the app. Is that okay?
Mainly the reference guide, like, so when I mentioned it, it was what we do for like new members. And I should have said that. I didn't specify that. That's something that my team or my oily families, like we've always gifted that to our new members for the education aspect of it. And that's why I mentioned the $10 price. There are many people that prefer the app. So I have gifted the app to somebody, one in particular that actually like has some issues that she really can't use the book with her hands. So I gifted her the app. That's what I meant in reference to that. So probably, you know, what you feel your new member would benefit from best. It might be a question to ask, like, would you prefer a book or would you prefer an app? And I mean, that is not something that you have to do. I find that it's been really beneficial for me, because I will find people coming to me like I'm an expert, and I'm not an expert, and I can say, oh, did you turn to page this? Or I've had people that said they're just like, oh, I give my husband a raindrop like once a week. I'm like, what, a raindrop? Like, I don't even know where she learned about in a reference book. You know, she read her reference book and she did it. I didn't have anything to do with that. You know, and they read through and they find things like if they have something going on, they can look it up, and then they can order according to that, especially like if it's a kind of a private thing that they're not going to post on Facebook. So that's what does that make sense for the reference book?
Right. No, thank you. I thought it was different, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm using the wrong stuff.
Well, no, I don't think there's like any wrong stuff. There are different apps though, so I would definitely be careful with what apps. There is one from Life Science that's the same as the book, but that too, like, I haven't updated mine in a while. Is there an update? I'm not even sure. So because I was just looking it up and I couldn't find something in it, and I was like, so I don't know. I have it just in case. Like, I just used it the one day, like, because I had my phone next to me and not my book. I had my book here, not too, but because I have all the big desk references. Like if for your own education, investing in the desk references, they're awesome too. And then because you can share that with your team, like you can pass it around, or you can look things up sometimes with people. They're in. I don't know if they're still on sale. They did have them on sale, but remember, just ask your upline as far as a preferred membership. Somebody in your family, in your oily group has a preferred membership, I'm sure, and they'll order and get you a little bit of a discount and stuff.
So this is the difference with the desk reference, and the desk reference in Spanish, only the desk reference exists. There isn't a pocket one in Spanish, just FYI. I have a lot of people that speak Spanish, but yeah, I have a preferred membership. So, and we, like above us, our upline didn't have the habit of gifting. So we kind of just all get it when we get it, kind of. But my sister and I here more recently, we do tend to make sure that we have at least, if not the pocket one, even the little smaller one, that everybody has something that they can look at. Because most people, their brain kind of thinks of, because we're so used to prescriptions and prescribing that opening a book to look up the ailment just makes more sense in their brain a lot of times than looking up what an oil does.
Yeah, because when I have my gatherings, the first thing, after, I do my introduction and all that, they usually go by hey, and what do you think is going to be good for this and this and this? And I'm like, first of all, just this clear, I'm not a doctor. So that's why I wanted it to either get the reference guide, offer it to them, or, like you said, the book. So I think I'm going to have to get me a book just to have.
Yeah, so I have a preferred membership, so we can make sure that you get the discount on the big one.
Oh, thanks.
And then they could just, you could just always have that at classes.
No, I need an opinion on one thing that I'm doing right now, because I have two friends. Both of them have autistic kids, but they're not willing to hear me out. They're not willing to come to the meetings, to the get together. And so I'm making lava bracelets, because I'm sure if I put some oils, they're gonna like it. So that's what I'm making right now, and hopefully I get to convince them that this works. So I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but I'm gonna try.
Dana, is there some testimonies that we got some videos on that?
On autism?
Yeah.
I don't have any.
Okay. I know that who do we just hear speak?
Where?
At Shannon's?
Jordan
The
Schrader?
autistic.
Cody.
Okay. Yeah, I've never seen her speak ever. So, but I know she's supposed to have something with CBD. She was supposed to have a testimony. I don't know if it came out yet, but that's one of her claim to fame. So we'll try to find some type of compliant testimonial.
There's Alicia Drogic too. She's got autistic kids, and that's really what got her into oils. So she's got a lot of testimonies. She was a nurse, so she can come at it from both angles. And she posts pretty frequently in stories, so you can catch good tips of how she words things.
Can I just real quick add something? And in line with the reference guide thing, the only thing just to keep in mind though, the reference guide is not compliant. So we can't say this is an incentive. If you get started, this is your bundle and what you will get. So we do have to be careful as an after with us gifting it, because technically for the things that are acceptable to gift to people, non-compliant like books and things aren't necessarily, it's the same thing like with an ITOV. Like technically we shouldn't really be giving ITOVs before we sign people up and things like that, but it's kind of like, oh, a bonus because you're on my team, I just want to give you something. But I just want to throw that out there just for like new people, because you don't want to like make like this cute little graphic where you have like a reference guide and, you know, all these things that, hey, get started with me and you'll get this or whatnot.
Yes, absolutely right. I never say that that's what I'm giving them. I give it to them after the fact. But yeah, we can't like advertise that as the incentive. You're right. Yep, it's totally not compliant, and that's why it's awesome. But we can't tell people about that, and like, you know, we can't even quote from it, you know. So that's why we say the compliant things or whatever. But yep, I always just say I'm giving a welcome package, and like in a private message I say a reference guide. But that can mean like I think they are probably pleasantly surprised when I give them that like 500-page book when they think I'm going to give them just like a, you know, little pamphlet or something. But yeah, good point, Dana.
Any other questions or anything else anyone else wants to add?
I was just going to mention, Valerie, you were talking about yourself and how you got started and thinking that other people were exactly that way. I mean, that's something I still have struggled with, because when I started, I was like a yes for all of it. So I was open to the supplements and everything else. So I automatically transfer. I'm like, why doesn't everybody do this? And I have to wrap my head around that people need to be instructed of what they can ditch and switch. When that was my motivation, was like moving these things out. So it's still a challenge for me, and it's been 2 decades. So.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I did pull up those sheets. So let me share my screen and we'll share those again. And I think sticking to that wellness consult, when we do that, helps with that, because I'm the same way. I'm the exact same way. I'm like, I spent hours just looking stuff up. And then if I say go here, I figured, hey, we have this whole website that you could just get training from. Like, just go there and get it. Like, and then if you need something, then you're going to ask. But yes, the rest of the world is not like that. So I'll share what we have for the tools. So these are in our virtual office, as mentioned, under member resources. And so this is what it tells you as far as how to prepare for the call, what things, a lot of the questions that Valerie already asked that we should be asking. What stood out? What are their wellness goals? Did they get the kit yet? Do they know where to go to get educated, such as YL Central and the virtual office, which does exist in English and Spanish, the Lavender Life blog, which does exist in English and Spanish, and Young Living social media accounts, which does exist in English and Spanish. So that's how we prepare for those calls. And then these are the things that we're going to make sure that we have our notes with them. We're going to ask them about their wellness priorities, and knowing their wellness priorities is how we then work their plan to ditch and switch based on what they've said that they want and they need. And then those guidelines that Valerie already talked about. The very next day after they place their order, we should communicate with them in the way that they prefer. Make sure that they have an unboxing video, whether it's one that we did ourselves or we choose to use our uplines or from another social media account. Day 3, make sure that they're plugged into all those things we just mentioned. They know Young Living, they know our Facebook group, preferably, again, as Valerie mentioned. I also don't have my own Facebook group. I use my Diamond Up Facebook group, and then we use smaller Facebook messengers or WhatsApp messengers for my education of groups in that area. And then day 5, make sure that they've gotten their kit. If they haven't, how to track it, where they can get some more details. And then day 10, just checking in with them. So I think if we start implementing that, we ask more questions, we get where their gaps is, and we get where to direct them.
About the whole like guiding people to things. So I am actually red, very red. I've always been very red. I just also thought I was yellow, but I'm not any yellow. But so I am a person that also, if I want it, I'm gonna go get it. I don't need anybody to tell me. But the flip side of that also, which I like to point out, because I think sometimes we can start to reference things like this and be like, I don't need to hold your hand or something like that. And it has like this negative bent to it. And I'm like, ooh, careful with that verbiage. Because the thing of that is, when I am motivated, I will go get it. If I'm not motivated and I come up against something that I'm not familiar with or not confident in or not well versed in, instead of leaning in, I'll be like, forget it, and go the opposite way. So I think for a lot of people, when they first get their kit, they haven't already, and this is not the truth for me, okay? When I got my kit, when I actually started using oils, well, it is true. I hadn't had my aha moment, so I didn't go anywhere for a while. It was months and months and months later when I was using Believe oil and got pregnant after 4 years of infertility. Then I went after it. But until then, nothing, okay? No ER, no signing people up. I don't like oils, all of that. So, if someone, gets their kit and they've already had an aha moment, I think whether their personality is red or not, they will get the answers. They may not get them the same way or with the same amount of speed, but they're still going to get them because they've had that profound experience. But in regards to most of the rest of personalities and just people in general, it's very normal to want like guidance or like suggestions, or it's comforting. If you think about, like, if you're going to go to a new like I went to a yoga class and I'd never been to a yoga class, and do you know what finally got me to go is my friend posted that she was teaching one, and I know her, and I know that she would literally beat somebody up if they tried to laugh at me for being a beginner. Okay. And she would never tolerate that. So because I knew her, even though I didn't know anything about yoga and I'm not like super, I still went to this yoga. It was a yoga workshop, actually. It was like a 4-hour thing. So I think that's really helpful to remember as we're talking about helping new people get started, especially the oils. Like, it's so brand new to most of us, to most of people coming into oils. Even just how to use oils is so new, that it's totally normal to expect someone to just readily embrace a coming alongside, So I love this whole topic. I love the way Valerie presented it. I love everything about all of this, because there are so many things that I didn't know when I started and that I didn't know for a long time. And my sponsor enroller is also red and assumed that I would get stuff my own way, which I did, but I made a lot of mistakes along the way, not knowing it. And of course, she says I gave her attitude about it, whatever. But y'all, I literally missed the 190 promos one time by like $2 because I didn't know that promos were a thing. And I came back later and was like, man, I just ordered a lot of oils. You should be real happy. And she's like, oh yeah, what'd you spend? I was like $200. She goes, like $200 or $200, because you probably just really screwed up, is what she said to me. I'm like, but you know what? I never missed another promo. So I'm just saying, you don't know what you don't know until you know it. you know? So I love this. And thank you, Valerie, for sharing with us tonight.
Yeah, and I think it really goes back to the first thing we talked about, it getting people from exposure to exposure to exposure, and that just keeps going. So we just need to get it in our minds that on average, people need 7 exposures before they're even going to sign up. And then on average, a lot of people need 7 exposures before they get ER, before they understand all the benefits. We got to explain it a few ways to them. And then people need 7 exposures to understand that, like, you really can spend 300. Like, we get to a point where we're like, oh my God, how can you not spend 300? Because we've transferred by everything, but they don't even know about the makeup yet. They don't even know about the supplements. They don't know how amazing the supplements are. So then they need 7 exposures to understand how to transfer by everything after we've got them on ER. And then they need for it to feel normal and natural before they're able to share. And so we got to just keep those exposures over and over again and remember and think back to the beginning of how we were, because we were the exact same. We did need several exposures no matter what our personality was to get certain things. And we needed guidance from somewhere, whether we got that guidance from looking it up ourselves or from someone verbally telling us. We all needed that guidance to get on the right track for everything. Any other questions or comments, guys? All right, if there's nothing else, we will close the call and I will get this uploaded and send it out to the appropriate groups so that we can have it. Thank you guys for joining tonight.
Thank you so much, Valerie. It was excellent.
Have an amazing evening, guys.
Thank you. Same.
Bye.
Oh,